Alright folks, SoloGamer back, and let's just roll right into our Eldritch Horror playthrough here. And forgive me if I keep mixing up and saying Arkham Horror and Eldritch Horror, that's just force of habit. And our first player is going to be a Catchy. And let's look at her actions here. She says, her actions, she can look at the top two gates in the gate stack, put one gate on top of the gate stack, and the other on the bottom. And she also can do a thing when you close a gate during an otherworld encounter, you may move to any space containing a clue or gate, which those are kind of good. Before we move her though, let's go and look at sogth. Now sogth has a special thing to where if this symbol comes up, each investigator on a space containing a gate advances doom by 1 unless he discards a spell. And then of course, when 3 mysteries have been solved, investigators win the game. When sogth awakens, flip this sheet. And there's a special thing for cultists. If you defeat this monster during a combat encounter, lose 1 sanity and gain 1 spell. Okay? And let us turn over our first mystery card to kind of see what we have to do in order to win this game. And our first mystery card is going to be the Spawn of sogth. When this card enters play, spawn the Dunwich Horror Epic Monster on Arkham. Oh boy. At the end of the Mythos phase, if the Dunwich Horror Epic Monster has been defeated, solve this mystery. So basically, we're going to have to fight the Dunwich Horror and beat him. So let's spawn him real quick. As you can see, this monster in the red is going to be different from the other monsters. It's called the Epic Monster. And this is the Dunwich Horror. And they're going to have special stuff on here. And, woo, he's going to be a hard guy to beat. Toughness is equal to number of players plus 2. So his toughness, which would normally be right here, is going to be 5. Yeah. And then, of course, every time this symbol comes up when we do a Mythos type card, roll 1 die. If the result is less or equal to the players, spawn 1 gate. So this guy's going to be a pain in the ass. We got to put him in Arkham where old idiot Norman here started. Alright, so let's figure out what we're going to do. Basically, in this game, you move 1 space. And she's going to go here to this clue token. And she can have an encounter there. But first, let's go over what she can do. Now, since she moved her 1 space, she's in a, before she has her encounter here, she can either rest, and that means she can either heal 1 stamina or 1 sanity. Well, she's not going to do that because she don't need to. She could either do one of her actions here, like look at the top 2 gates. Well, we're not going to do that either. She could trade with another player if another player was there. She could cast a spell or use an item or something like that if she had one to use, which this thing right here, we don't need to. Or if she were in a city space, and only a city space, she could purchase 1 boat ticket or 1 train ticket. Doesn't cost anything, you just get it. But only if you're in a city space. Or, also again, only if you are in a city space, you can try to get one of these asset cards. How you get one of these is, you go by your influence. She has an influence of 2. She would take 2 die. And if she got a 5 or a 6, that would be a success. On this case, she got no successes. So she would not be able to get any of these. If she got 2 successes, she could pick either the Private Investigator or the Holy Cross. Anytime you can try to get this bank loan, when performing an acquire assets action, you may gain a debt condition to immediately add 2 successes to your result. She could get a debt condition from over here. But we're not in a city, so she can't do that. So what she's going to try to do is she's going to, instead of having a sea encounter, she's going to have a investigation encounter, try to get this clue token. So let's go ahead and do it. So we pick this investigation here, and then we look at what space she's in, and she's in a sea space. And it says, your ship travels through a time portal, and you hear news of future events on the radio. Gain this clue. So we get to gain the clue right there. Then, if a Hound of Tenelos monster is on the game board, move it to your space and encounter it. Well, it is not on the game board. We don't have one then. Otherwise, lose 1 sanity. So we lose 1 sanity. So we'll put this back in our pile. This card will go back in the deck. And that's it. That's her turn. And now it is Norman Wither's turn. Now he moves one space. Now this thing just appeared there, so that's not really... And he started the game there, so I'm not really going to say that's fair. If he wanted to encounter this, he'd have to fight. But that Dunwich Horror right now is just too damn strong, so we're going to get the hell out of Dodge, and he's going to go to a city space. He has an influence of 1. His influence stinks right off the bat. So, we're not going to do anything there. Okay? So, he doesn't need their heal. There's no other player to trade with there. He can either spend 2 clue tokens to discard one monster from space containing a gate. Well, he doesn't have any clue tokens. And so what's he going to do? Well, the only thing we can do is we can try to purchase a ticket. And we're going to purchase a... Let's get a train ticket. And what a train ticket does is next turn, Norman can move 1 space. Like he can move to Arkham, and then he can spend that train ticket and move another space on a train line. So it basically lets your movement go another round. And now he's going to have a city encounter space, so we'll take a city encounter card here. Regular encounter card. Alright, city. The syndicate is engaged in a gang war with local thugs and is under intense legal scrutiny. You try to trade your political clout for assistance. Okay, and then we have that symbol there. That means you have to make an influence check. And his influence is 1. So he gets to roll a die and see what happens. And we got it. We got it 5 or 6. Wow, that's lucky. If you pass, gain 1 service asset from the reserve or 1 random service asset from the deck. Well, there's no service. Well, there is a service right here. It'll tell you what kind it is. And he can gain the Silver Twilight Ritual. And it basically says, when you gain this card, immediately retreat Doom by 1, then discard. Well, we can go ahead and retreat it to 15. Which will help. So we will discard this card, and we'll put another card here to put on the reserve. It's an Arcane Scholar, and then we will put this back under the deck. Hence, that's Norman's turn. And now it is Lily Chen's turn. Let's have her go this way. We'll go to Tokyo. We'll do a big Tokyo thing. Now she don't need to heal. And she don't need to do her action, which is spend any number of health or sanity, then recover an equal number of health or sanity. You know, when you improve a skill, you may immediately improve that skill again. That's going to come in handy. Okay, so she don't need to trade with anybody. There's nobody there. Her influence is 2, so she could try to get these guys right here. If she gets a bank loan. Each monster on your space loses 3 health and discard. She's going to go for the... We're going to do an asset thing. We're not going to buy a ticket. We're going to go for an asset. She's going to have to end up getting a bank loan. But she has an influence of 2. If we can get at least 1 success, we can get that dynamite. And that'll help us defeat this Dunwich Horror. So come on. Oh, she got 1 success, so she gets the dynamite. Now we put another card down here. A Holy Water. That's going to be another good card right there. But she now has to get a debt condition. Alright, so we'll go through the deck until we find a debt thing. Now here's our debt condition card. And basically what happened is, if you take a local action, like she could have done, instead of doing the asset thing, she could test her influence, and if she passed, she could discard that card. But if this symbol ever comes up on a Mythos card, then this little thing here is going to have to happen. Some men have come to collect on your debt. Flip this card, and then you flip it and you do what it tells you on the back of the card. And let me trust you, it ain't going to be good. So she's in Tokyo. She's got that. Let's do a Tokyo encounter card here. And it was purple, so we're going to get a purple, and there's Tokyo. The reigning emperor has been plagued by nightmares. His advisors ask your opinion, and you assure them that these horrors are real. And we have a little influence symbol there, so she has to do an influence check. She has an influence of 2, and she did not make it. If you pass, they act immediately. One monster of your choice on any space loses 2 health. Well, that would have been good to have. If you fail, gain a detained condition. Now, if she had a clue token, she could have spent that clue token to roll one of those dice again, but she don't have a clue token. So she gets a detained condition now. Ugh, these conditions, detained conditions are never any good either. Debt, cursed, leg, paranoia, hallucination. Come on now, where's the detained? God, dog, man, this is gonna be in the end of the. Let's see here, detained. Okay, so she has 2 conditions now. And basically, what this thing it says, you cannot move or perform actions other than the action on this card. Instead of resolving an encounter, flip this card. So next turn, she will be stuck at Tokyo. She has her local action. She can try to pass her influence test and discard this card. But if she can't, then she'll have to flip that card and do what's on the back of it. And so that's our hero's turn. So now it is the Mythos turn. And of course, you know, these things ain't never going to be good. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to turn over the Mythos card. Let's have a look at it. And first thing you're going to do is you're going to go by these symbols right here at the top. And you have to basically, you'll memorize these symbols after 1 or 2 playthroughs. It's not going to be a problem. This first symbol says basically you're going to move the omen track. So what we're going to do is we're going to move the omen track 1. And if there was any gate, okay, that had that symbol that was open, a monster surge would occur for each gate. Unfortunately, it's not. We just have that symbol. And you would advance the doom track by 1. But it's not going to happen this time. We're lucky. Alright. Then this one right here means the little special actions that you have to do. And there's an order to how you have to do this. And I usually start with Sogth or any monsters and then work my way down to the players. Sogth special little, remember, see this little symbol right here? He has it right here. And it says, each investigator on a space containing a gate advances doom by 1 unless he discards a spell. Well, no investigators on this thing with a gate, so we don't have to worry about that. Some monsters, like this monster right here, have a special thing right there, and you have to do what it says on the back every time that symbol comes up. Each investigator on this space or an adjacent space loses 1 health or sanity. Well, there is no investigators like that on there, so that's good. Then we have the Dunwich Horror. He has a thing like that. Roll 1 die if the result is less than or equal to the 3 players. Spawn 1 gate. That's not going to be good. So come on, man. Let's get a low. Shit, of course. So we're going to spawn a gate now because that happened. So we spawn a gate. We are at Istanbul, and it has a comet symbol. And of course, we're going to put a new monster on there. And we'll do that in just 1 second. Then this symbol says, well, you got to spawn a new gate. So now we've gone from having 1 gate to 3 gates on the board. And we're putting this one in Tokyo. Now, since this goes first, we don't now have, and we spawned a gate that had that symbol, we do not, I repeat, we do not have to move the doom token or anything like that. Now, in the old games, if a gate opened up under you, you get sucked into the other world. Not so on this game. You can choose to have the other world encounter, which she's probably going to do if she can get past her little detained condition, because we want to close gates. We don't want to have the gazillion gates open on the board. Okay. And we're going to put our monsters on there, but first I'm going to read this thing. It says, move the omen counterclockwise by 1. It's Perplexing Stars event. So we're going to move it back to the comet. Then advance doom by 1 for each gate on the game board that corresponds to the current omen, which we just drew a comet. So now we got to move the doom by 1. Now no monster surge is going to happen because we're going by this event here. Okay, and so that's that Mythos card. So we're done with that, and let's put a couple monsters on the board. Now I randomly drew a couple monsters, and one of them was a Hound of Tindalos, and we're going to put him over here. And then we have this Nop Kef. And there is one other thing I want to go over. We're going to put him on Tokyo. But he comes out with this symbol on top here. And what that means is that if a monster has that symbol on top, what that means is that you're going to do immediately right off the bat when you put him on the board, an action is going to take place. And it says, when this monster responds, move it to the Himalayas. So he's not going to be at Tokyo, he's moving to the Himalayas. So there will be several monsters in the game that have that symbol on there, and you do what that symbol says before you do anything else with that monster. Okay, so that's our Mythos phase. But first now, we have to settle her debt condition and her detained condition. And we'll start with the debt. Some men have come to collect your debt. Flip this card. You now see that it was no ordinary bank you borrowed from. Some armed men confront you and demand that you repay what you owe. So you have to make a strength check. Now Lily there, though, has a strength of 4. So that might not be too bad. So let's get some successes here. We did. We got 1 success. We barely made that. So she passed that check. If she would have failed, she would have lost 3 health, and she discards the card. So she passed that check. So we can get rid of that debt condition card. And we'll put it back at the bottom of the deck. Now she has to do this detained condition card. Well, no, she doesn't. I'm sorry. Because there is no symbol on the bottom here. Okay, so she won't have to do that. But most conditions, though, they have these little symbols on the bottom here. That means you have to do them. And that is our round. Now let's start with Norman Withers and see what we want to do with him. Well, he's in, because he's the first player token is going to pass to him. All right. Okay, well, let's move him to San Fran. Now he could do, like I said, he can do his action. He could trade. He can purchase a ticket. He could heal. But he's got this spell here, and it's test your lore. -1. If you pass, choose an investigator on your space, which is where he's at, to improve 1 skill of his choice and flip this card. So this is what we're going to do with Norman before he has his encounter. His lore is 3, -1 is going to be 2. He did not pass. That's terrible. Resolve the effect based on your results. So he got 0. Casting the spell, you open yourself to terrible knowledge. Your mind is filled with gibberish, repeating endlessly. Discard this card unless you lose 2 sanity. Didn't flip this card. Okay, well, we're not gonna. I kind of want to keep that card. Alright, so we'll let him lose 2 sanity. And then now his action in San Fran. And that's going to be a green, so we'll take a green here and see what happens. The Examiner hires you to spend a night in the Winchester Mystery House. They provide you with experts in detecting the supernatural. Improve your observation. Alright, so he gets to improve his observation, so we'll take a little observation symbol here. Like that, and put a +1 up there, so now his observation is 3. The odd architecture and the building's history threaten to unhinge your mind as the evening passes. Make a will check, -1. If you fail, lose 2 sanity. Well, dang, he just lost 2 sanity. So he has a will of 3, but he's going to be -1, so 2. So, man, let's get a success. God damn it. Of course not. Of course, no success. So he just lost 2 more sanity. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong thing. He gets to roll 3 dice. Well, alright. So, he still failed. Okay. So he just lost 2 more sanity. So we got to start think about him. Alright, we're going to go ahead and end it right now. And we'll come back and we'll start with Lily Chen's turn. And I'll see you then. Bye.